Rebecca, and I'd like to welcome you to episode number 31 of Nicoles Weekly Words. Thank you so much for sticking with your vocabulary development for so long. I am so proud of each and every one of you for making a commitment to improve your vocabulary and, more importantly, to use some impressive new words. So keep up the great job. I'm so proud of you, and I thank you for joining me again here today. Whether you are in my Facebook group, whether you are watching me on my Facebook page, or whether you are over on my YouTube channel, I say a big hello. Have a wonderful start to a new week and enjoy the 5 new words that I've chosen for you today. As you know, we're working our way through the alphabet, and we're now all the way up to the letter W. How amazing is that? So the 5 words I've chosen to teach you today all begin with the letter W. And there's some good ones. I'm sure that you will enjoy learning them. So this week I've chosen the word whinge, wacky, weakling, whimsical, and wayward. Are you ready to learn them? Yeah, I promise that if you stick with me, if you listen very carefully to my explanations and my example sentences, if you download the worksheet for episode 31, and if you follow my instructions by practicing and revising, by the end of this week, all of these super impressive words will be part of your memory bank and will come to you automatically. So that is exciting. Let's begin with word number 1. This week we have the word whinge. Whinge. Can you say that? Whinge. Great. And look, whinge is a verb, and it's used when someone complains non-stop. You know, they become really annoying and really irritating because all they do is complain. That is whinge. So they complain about something that is really not very important, you know. Most people would not whinge or complain about this small, unimportant thing. So they really express, I suppose, negative views about really small, trivial, unimportant things. And they go on and on and on and on. And for other people, these complaints are really annoying to listen to, you know. Most of the time, the people who hear these complaints or this whinging, they don't share the same views at all, you know. So that's why when they describe a person who is doing this, they use the word whinge, because, as I said, it means that they're complaining non-stop about something that is so unimportant, so small, so trivial. Do you know anybody who whinges? Maybe you whinge sometimes. We've all done it. We've all been there, done that. Let me give you some example sentences, and that will help you put it into context. Number 1, what are you saying? You have absolutely nothing to whinge about. Just appreciate how good you've got it and stop complaining. Sounds like a mother, doesn't it? Number 2, I really don't enjoy spending time with her because she whinges all day long about absolutely everything. Not fun being with a person like that. Number 3, stop whinging and focus on the positives. Good advice. And number 4, we don't have time to whinge. We have a job to do and a deadline to meet. There you go. So there's some great example sentences. I hope that you can create your own sentences using whinge as well. Let's move on to our second W word for this week. And I've chosen the word wacky. Can you say that? Wacky. Wacky. Excellent, yeah. And look, wacky is used when something or someone is really funny, you know, is really amusing, but in a slightly odd way, in a slightly peculiar way, I suppose. So they're a little bit strange and funny at the same time. So it's really something strange or unusual or unexpected, but at the same time, it's quite pleasing and exciting or maybe even interesting. So you've got these two almost opposites, I suppose. We usually use the word wacky with something that's a little bit silly, I suppose. You know, it could be an idea or an activity that's a little bit out there, you know, a little bit different, a little bit strange and unexpected. Yeah, so some other words for wacky could be bizarre or eccentric if you're describing a person, maybe even unusual or odd. So there you go. Wacky can describe people, but also things and actions and activities and ideas. Good word, isn't it? I think it's a great one. So wacky, good one to remember. Let's have a look at some examples. My sister is a little bit wacky. She goes for a swim every single morning, rain, hail, or shine. I'm definitely not the same as her. Number 2, he has such a wacky imagination. I love how his brain works. He comes up with the most creative and unusual ideas. Number 3, scientists are often described as being wacky. Do you agree that they often have wacky ideas and theories? And number 4, I can't wait to watch the new wacky TV show, which starts tonight. I think it will be highly entertaining and full of laughs. There you go, that's the word wacky. Moving on, now I'd like to talk about the next word, which is the word weakling. Weakling. Can you say that? Excellent. So there's really 2 directions with this word. The first one, we could really describe a person or an animal that is physically weak. You know, they're not physically fit and strong. They don't have much physical strength. You look at them as being unfit, I suppose. So that's the first direction. The second direction for weakling can be used to describe a person who is a bit of a coward, okay? They're really weak in character or maybe even in mind. So, you know, they could be called a softie or even a wimp, I suppose, would be an alternative there, because they are afraid or they are nervous about confrontation or adventure. They're not brave at all. So they're the 2 meanings there. A person or animal who is physically weak, or a person who is weak in character. They're a coward. Some examples. Daily exercise and weight training has turned him from a weakling to a fit and healthy athlete. Number 2, he was considered a weakling all through school, but now with so many muscles, he's almost unrecognizable. Number 3, what a weakling. I knew I couldn't rely on him. He's really let the team down. And number 4, as a soldier, he proved that he is no weakling. He has incredible strength of character and mind. There you go. Quite a good word. Number 4, we have the word whimsical. Whimsical. Can you say that? Whimsical. Excellent. Look, whimsical can be used to describe something unusual, something full of imagination. So we usually use this to describe an idea. You know, an idea that's unusual, but it's quite creative. You need a really good imagination to come up with that idea. Whimsical can also be used to describe an action or a plan that suddenly changes for no obvious reason. You know, so it's really when there's slightly erratic behavior or an unpredictable change. So plans and actions change like that. There's no explanation or logic behind it, I suppose. Or whimsical can be used to describe a person. And this person is a little bit unusual, you know. They're a little bit maybe playful or unpredictable instead of being serious or practical. So that's whimsical. We can describe something that's unusual and full of imagination. We can describe an action or a plan that changes for no real reason. Or we can describe a person who's a little bit unpredictable, who's not serious. Okay, does that make sense? Let's have a look at some examples. What a wonderful and whimsical comedy. I absolutely loved it. Or, unfortunately, his decisions are often whimsical. You never know where you stand. Or, despite being a successful businessman, he never lost his slightly whimsical side and his great sense of humor. Or number 4, her idea to fly to Paris at the last minute to see the Eiffel Tower was a little whimsical, if you ask me. Okay, let's do the last word for this week. And I've chosen the word wayward. 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 Your turn. Great. Wayward. And look, if a person is wayward, then they only do what they want. You know, they don't follow what other people want or what other people expect. You know, their behavior or their decisions are really quite different to other people. They don't follow the norm. They don't follow the expectations, I suppose. You could really say that they are difficult to control, perhaps, especially in a group setting. Because, you know, they're so individual and their actions are so unpredictable. So for that reason, you know, they're difficult to control. You don't really know what's going to happen next, I suppose, if you're in a group with them or if you're working with them. So people who are wayward always want their own way. Okay, they want to do their own thing. They're really, what should we say? Independent, I suppose, or maybe stubborn might be a really good word there. They always want their own way, regardless of what other people want. They're not really considering other people's wishes or hopes, I suppose. They're just focusing on their own. They don't conform to people's rules, I suppose, you know. I suppose the best way to describe a person who is wayward is someone who is headstrong. Have you heard of that before? Headstrong. Or maybe even disobedient. You know, at school, in a school setting, a student might be quite disobedient. They don't listen to the teacher. They don't follow the rules. They're wayward. They're disobedient. Some examples. He is the perfect example of a wayward child. Or number 2, the stress of dealing with his wayward daughter finally took its toll. He needs a break to rest and recharge the batteries. Number 3, he has always demonstrated wayward behavior. His parents never had it easy with him. And number 4, the wayward minister was disowned by his own political party. There you go. So there are words for this week. I really like them. I hope that you do too. Quick revision. We had the word whinge, that's right. We had the word wacky, excellent. We had the word weakling, very good. We had the word whimsical, and the final word this week was wayward. Well done. So there are 5 words: whinge, wacky, weakling, whimsical, and wayward. I hope you really enjoyed learning them. Your job now is to go and practice them, of course. I'd like you to go and download this week's worksheet. You'll find it over in the Facebook group in the files section. So there's a worksheet there for episode 31 where you are able to see all of this week's words, all of the explanations, and all of the example sentences. And you can write your own notes and your own sentences there too, which is really exciting. So make the most of that, because it's been designed, Nicoles Weekly Words has been designed in such a way that you watch the videos, you absorb the words, you think about them, you download everything, you read over it, maybe watch it again, add some more notes, and then write your own sentences. So please do follow that system, because it really works. You know, I've helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people improve their level of vocabulary and really, what should I say, lift it to another level by using more impressive words confidently. And you can do it too. So anyway, please practice. Feel free to add your own example sentences into the comments section of the worksheet so that I can read them, correct them, and give you some feedback. Anyway, thank you so much for listening this week. I do hope that you join me again next week for episode 32, because I've got some great words waiting to be learnt, and they all begin, well, they don't begin, but they all have the letter X in them. I think it's a little hard to think of words that begin with the letter X. If you can think of any, do let me know before next week. But you know, the number of words starting with X are quite limited. So I think I'm going to instead teach you words that have the letter X in them or end in the letter X. Does that sound good? So make sure you come back next week to learn some great X words. Wonderful. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you. Bye.